Hey guys, how you doing? Jeff here, and today I want to get off talking about politics and COVID-19. If you want to know what I think, go check out my Facebook, Jeff Shawley, at Facebook, or you can check out my Twitter of what I think about COVID-19 and the Democrats' response to said COVID-19 economic consequences, namely their 1,404-page laundry list of stuff we want to get people money. And it's like, wow, really? But if I start talking about that, I'll be ranting for 10 minutes. I don't want to do that. I'm kind of tired of it. But what do I want to talk about today? Well, it's not meant for kids, but it could be, but parental supervision is advised. Now, if you like the channel Eckhart's Ladder, which I do, I highly suggest you check it out. Great lore stuff, great ideas, great video game critiques and all that. And I started going, if I was a rebel commander, whether it's EU, Disney Channel, what would be my ideal fleet? If I could have capital ships versus, escort ships, kind of like the Sierra 90, what would be my ideal fleet, and then what would be my realistic fleet? So today, I'm going to give you the capital ships, light cruisers, and corvettes, and stuff like that I would want, ideally, as my fleet. So, without further ado, let's kick this off. Now, I would have 3 capital ships and 3 capital ships alone. I don't want this fleet too dang big. I want it to be a good-sized cell. And I'm kind of basing this off of a realistic Marine Expeditionary unit. Just on roids in space. First, you got the Gunslinger, which is a capital ship. It would be a modified Victory. Modified how? Well, I would make her as fast as a Venator, so she can keep up with the Venator, and my other capital ship, which is a Venator, and then my third one, which is an Acclamator, which all would have the speed of a Venator, whether in hyperspace or in real space. I would also, with the Victory, I would also modify it a second way. Lots and lots of point defense cans, almost pretty much as many as a Venator carries, about 55, 56, placed strategically all over that ship to protect from fighter attack. As you know, TIE fighters and TIE bombers are probably going to inbound, so I want anti-fighter weaponry. And then, of course, the turbo laser cannons it has is fine, the assault missile cannons. But I would also omit all starfighters. And I would omit all ground forces. I'd keep a small military contingent on board, maybe 300 or 400 Space Marines. Yeah, I know. Bad choice there, but basically a Marine complement to deal with boarding invaders, but nothing to launch a planetary invasion or sustain ground campaign with. That's what my Acclamator is for. But I would have, transport shuttles, for shuttling people back and forth. But generally, the Victory's there for one thing, to slug it out with enemy capital ships and defend itself from anti-air attack. And then you have the second component, the Venator, the carrier. Now, the only change I would make to the Venator is some of those turbo lasers. Actually, I would probably replace the turbo lasers with ion cannons. Because basically, I don't want my Venator thinking it can stand up in a starfight. Basically, I want the ion cannons to knock down ships, disable a ship, and turn around and run the hell away. And I would move some of the emplacements to the bottom, to the dorsal side, so it had equal firepower above and below. Because that was a big fustercluck with the Venator that I had. Now, the point defense lasers against, fighters, they'll stay. But generally, it's my carrier. And if this was early on during the time of Rebels, basically, instead of A-Wings, because I don't find them great fighters, they're great in hit and run slash attacks, but they're not really standalone fighters, plus their parts trying to replace them is a pain in the butt. My mainline fighter is going to be the Z-95 Headhunter. Why? They're cheap, they're ubiquitous, they're found freaking everywhere, and it's easy to get parts for them. Like the Honda Civic of fighters besides an actual TIE fighter. They're cheap, they're easy to maintain, they're easy to train pilots on, and they're easy to, like I said, get parts with. And, of course, my bombers would be the Y-Wing. Because, once again, cheap, parts are everywhere, not quite as easy to maintain, but... And the reason I picked the Venator, because back in the Clone Wars, depending on the fire, could carry out the 400 fighters. I probably wouldn't be carrying near as much because I have Z-95 Headhunters and Y-Wings, but I can still probably carry about, I don't know, if I have 12 fighter squadrons like you see in some of the X-Wing books, I could probably carry up to six squadrons, basically a wing of Y-Wing bombers, and probably like 144 Z-95s comfortably in the hangar. So that gives me a very, very hefty fighter punch that I can use to move around. Now, Z-95s, we can modify them. Put some hyperdrives on them, and, nav computers that, have enough coordinates to jump out, make a quick dogleg, and then jump back to the carrier, get on board, and get the hell out, and the carrier never even has to show up if it doesn't want to. And then, of course, my third capital ship would be the Acclamator. Why? Ground troops. Carry basically a reinforced division with armor attached, and it's basically there to land troops, lots of them, and conduct a ground campaign. So I'm going to have a ground element. Now, what the Acclamator, how many troops it carried, what kind of equipment it carried, that's a video for another day if you like this on Wolf Tech. Now, stepping off of the capital ships, we're going to go through the light cruisers and corvettes. For light cruisers, I would say Arcaton, but I'm not going to do that. I'm going to go with something where I said this would be a really good ship for the Rebels if it had been made during Rebels. I would go with the old school, 3 millennia and a half old design of the D-12 class Hammerhead Corvette. I can't remember the name of it for the life of me at the moment. It's escaping me because I want to say Arcaton, but it's not. But basically, it's the old Hammerhead style light Corvette, which is basically a light cruiser. It's about the same size as the Arcaton. I have a video on it. I'll link it below. But that would be my mainstay cruiser, and I'd have about, 4 to 6 of them. Generally, they could be detached to carry out their own solo missions because they could also carry fighters, which they'd probably carry about a squadron of Z-95s with maybe a couple of Y-Wings, like a flight of 4, and could probably carry them comfortably. And they could also carry Marines if they wanted to, which I probably wouldn't, though I would probably have, a small contingent for, like I said, anti-boarding parties. But that would be my screening ships for my 3 larger ships. And then, of course, Corellian corvettes, if I had any, I'd also attach. And I'd have myself a pretty good flotilla. That would be generally my, my Rebel cell flotilla if I have my own Rebel fleet. And their composition and makeup and what kind of fighters, what kind of ordnance I'd be carrying and all of that. So, if you were planning a Rebel cell /fleet /flotilla, what would be your picks? I'd like to hear them in the comments below. Let's get this ball started, and let's talk. Let's do some fun talking about Star Wars. Not this doom and gloom about this, that, and the other. Let's talk some fun about Star Wars. Let's go back to the good old days of talking about what would I do, and stand by for the next video where I talk about what's more realistic, like if I was in charge of something like Phoenix Cell, what ships would I be using there? I'm Jeff, and I'll catch you next time.